Hey, Toxsam, first of all, thank you making it out one more time to speak with me. This is the second session we are having together. And I think you have been just such an exciting conversation partner, not only during the first session we had, but mostly during the meta trip sessions, I believe. So, welcome to this second edition.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Glad to be here.
So, Toxam, the reason why I asked you to come over to speak to me is just that from time to time we have enough material in Decentraland that needs some kind of coverage. And I think it's really cool that we have these meta trips on Tuesdays with you and with about 500, no, not yet 500, but at least 50 crazy people where we can go talk, discuss current events. But I think from time to time, when you have 50 people there, it's just not the same atmosphere. I think sometimes a one-on-one like this is also a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, different kind of meetings, different styles, So, yeah.
So what's interesting right now in Decentraland is that when you create this type of content, there is two different kind of audiences, right? You have those guys who have been around for a long time, and the questions that those guys have are like somewhat advanced and really up to date to current developments. And then there is the guys who just joined in, who are trying to figure out what's going on, and we kind of have to serve both kinds. And I'm going to try to kind of touch on a lot of different things that a lot of people possibly could care about. And more importantly, selfishly, I do care about these things. And I know that you know stuff that other people don't know. Or if you don't know, at least you have a very particular and way of seeing things in Decentraland. So I've prepared a list of things that I would like to speak about. I'm just going to go for it until our time runs out. And let's see where this is going to take us, man.
Sure. Sounds good. Go ahead.
All right. So first of all, you have bought some art avatars today because I've seen you have rebranded your Twitter a little bit. It looks a little bit different than before. What's been going on today and yesterday for you, man?
I use aped into the art avatars. I knew about the project for already a couple of months, and I was not going to buy it, but then someone told me that it was going to be automatic, something that I didn't know about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I got automatic. I know how to use it. Let's do it. Let's ape on this. And yeah, I bought two of them. Yesterday they didn't show up, and this morning they show up. I decided to just change my Twitter to kind of follow the art style of my new art avatar, but I already got tired of it and I really changed it back. So
I was thinking maybe there is some kind of major initiative on your side to kind of reinvent Sam, but I'm glad to hear that you're back.
and from time to time I just want to do try different art styles or try different stuff, and at the end of the day I just want to come back to to my, because if you change your profile on Twitter, people just start not finding you. That's something that I found out this week. Early this week, or last, I would say Sunday, I changed my Twitter profile, and then all of a sudden during Monday and Tuesday, nobody was speaking to me, and I didn't know what was happening. And it was because I changed my avatar, and people was not relating to the new, uh, to the new avatar I picked. So
It's
I
incredible.
just like to test stuff, and if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, I just change back.
I mean, it's incredible how important Twitter is for Decentraland. This is where you kind of build your reputation, and this is where all the action is, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be involved into the Decentraland or any NFT project in particular, you need to be on Twitter, because it's like the news. It's like the TV of of the NFT space, and you have to be there, and it's very active.
Okay, man. So let's get into some of the meaty subjects right now. So there is a lot of stuff happening. This L2 marketplace is supposed to come to Decentraland. I think everything really just got hung up on this development of everything in the NFT space switching to L2. Like, what do you know? Like, what's currently going on? When are we gonna have like the switch? How is this going to look like? Do you know what will happen to the wearables and all that stuff that is currently still on mainnet. Is there anything you can say, like, can you like just brain up what you know, because I think this is the most exciting thing happening at this moment.
Yeah, definitely layer two solutions like Matic or Polygon, now that they rebranded, are going to allow a more open and more democratized economy, specifically in the Decentraland, since they are big partners. And as far as I know, they will be having some kind of agreement where Matic transactions maybe even free for Decentraland users for over a year or something. I'm not sure that's how that's going to happen, or how that's what kind of projects will have free Matic or something, but definitely wearables, anything that Decentraland kind of creates will be placed in Matic. So what this will do is we will be able to finally have $1 NFTs, which is something I think we really need in the Decentraland to for many reasons, especially for us as game developers. We need cheap NFTs that we can just create for the games and use them and burn them and not having to pay $50 transactions for every single interaction with the user.
So this is the, the
uh,
the key takeaway here is that it will allow for kind of low priced items, stuff that you can quickly exchange. This hasn't been possible
mhm.
before. So now if we meet at an event, we could quickly exchange something of low value, and this hasn't been possible before. So this is the big kind of systematic change.
Yeah, that's kind of breaking point for the central, and I'm not sure how the events will roll up, what will come first and what will come later on, but I know that the market for wearables is going to be open. They're going to be open with a couple of tools, so anybody can create wearables for themselves. Probably not super unique wearables or super dope, exclusive wearables, but probably a T-shirt or whatever you want to do. You probably will be able to do it on your own without needing uh, a license, and that will be also done in Matic. So
Hold
that
on.
will open up the gates for for creators.
Now you're jumping the gun there, man. I wanted to keep this aside, this topic, because it's a whole. I mean, this whole wearables creation deserves a whole little segment. I mean, this is probably the second biggest thing. First of all, having the possibility of having stuff on L2 and exchanging goods for free, and then you can actually
Mhm.
create stuff. The fact that it's now on L2 as well is great, but the fact that you can create stuff, this idea has been around for so long. So many people from the creative community said we don't like Decentraland because everything is kind of fixed and kind of rigid, and we want to be more creative. And then people said, but we've had that experience in crypto voxels where you, when you open up the building of and the creation of wearables, this really messes with the supply, and there's just this thousands and thousands of different items suddenly available. Now, how do you view that? Like, what's going to happen? You guys have created some wearables during the fashion shows last year. Those items are selling for thousands of mana. How will
Mhm.
this change going forward? Will it change at all? What's your view on that?
For the older, the thing about layer two is that it's not only for wearables. If I want to just donate you 1 mana to your land because I like your place, I cannot do that right now. I have to pay a gas fee for that. That probably is higher than just 1 mana, right? So, in the case of wearables, the old wearables it will be remaining in the Ethereum mainnet, and all that have been minted already there. They are going to be still very valuable because they will be still living in the mainnet. And no, I don't think anything changed. Those will be probably becoming, vintage
Mhm.
clothing or something. And then we will have the gates open for anybody to create stuff, and it will be the market what will decide what is cool, what is not cool, and it will be an open competition for any creator. Of course, there is going to be a flood in the market. There's going to be people creating millions, even millions, or trillions of NFTs, but that doesn't mean that they are going to sell it or that they are going to be popular or anything. It's going to just follow the market and see who is the most creative and who is the one who managed to create the store more appealing or market themselves. Gonna be interesting actually.
That's definitely going to be interesting, but let's unwrap this a little bit because there are two components to what you just said. First of all, the original stuff, the vintage stuff, will still live on the mainnet, you say. What I thought is that
Mhm.
we are going to kind of transfer them over to the Matic network. Um, isn't that what we are supposed to do? That we pay that one more fee to kind of send it over the bridge into the new world where we can then exchange it and send it around for free, literally? Isn't, or is it going to be a
Uh,
choice? Or
I think it's going to be the choice of the person. Some people doesn't like Matic actually. Some people really love Ethereum and they only like stuff on mainnet and if you have a token in mainnet and you don't want to transfer it to Matic, that's up to you. That this is the central on that, right? This is the centralization. You can do whatever you want with your tokens. So there's no. I mean, if you want to transfer them, great, because you will be having all these benefits from Matic. But maybe you don't want to transfer. You want to keep them into mainnet and just wait for the gas fees to lower down or just speculate on a higher value asset, or it will be up to the person who owns the token basically.
you know,
And by the way, you
yeah.
can also transfer from Matic to Ethereum. So let's say I create a wearable that is so popular that I create 10 of them, right? And I sell a couple of them. They are super popular, and then they decide, okay, this is a very valuable token. The person who's buying it in Matic say, okay, this is a very valuable token. I don't want to have it in Matic. Let's move it to Ethereum so it has more value and it's more stable. So it will be up to the person if they want to transfer up and down in layers.
Man, that's, I'm spending a lot of time on OpenSea in the marketplace, and a lot of people do that. And there is a lot of trading and price watching and opportunity hunting going on, especially people who are kind of trying to build up their portfolio of stuff, right? So I think it's going to be
Mhm.
quite important for a lot of people on how this mechanics is going to play out. Like if some people are going to have their stuff on one network, other people will have it on the other. I mean, when you buy something that is worth 150 mana today and you have to pay 60 mana of of fees, it changes the whole economics of trading. So I feel like probably it makes sense to pay that fee once and get everything on the Matic. I wouldn't see the advantage of keeping it on the mainnet, but I don't know the ins and outs really yet and what the advantages and disadvantages are, if any, right? So I was curious what you thought about this because the thing is, the other question is creating wearables. You mentioned that it's going to be a t-shirt, some kind of fundamental stuff that you can slap on a logo and then just making sure with like that it's not a copy or there is no kind of copyright and legal issues with it, and then you can just put it into the world. Something like we've seen from Atari, or something that we have seen from maybe from Three Lau or Blau, some of
Mhm.
standard items like that. But the thing is, there are two extremes, right? There is the Atari T-shirts, and then there are those crazy items that go completely off bounds from the avatar and this crazy neural hair and these kind of things, or the hot dog you're wearing on your head right now. Like these are probably the items that you refer to that are going to be more difficult to create, or like
Probably for those you will still need a license. That's kind of the thing, because those require a little bit more of understanding of the technology and how to create 3D models and stuff. So probably you will need to still go through the licensing system. I don't think that's going to disappear. I understand what is happening, and I really appreciate that they kind of filter it out just in case you buy something that doesn't work at all. So that's probably still happening with the license, but something easier just go rambling for anybody kind of do it.
so. What does a license mean when you say license?
The license is that they allow you create a project, you post it on the forum, the community votes, or this is how it's supposed to be working, right? You create a project, you pitch it to the community votes, and if the votes pass, you will be able to mint that proposal that you created.
Okay, this is what we have kind of assumed for like almost a year, that this is the process, and this was kind of Augustine published that process in the forum, and it lived there for some
Mhm.
time now. But I had the other day a Twitter exchange with Toonpunk, and he told me that the DAO will only be responsible for checking for legal issues and direct copies. It will not judge creativity. You can publish pretty much whatever we want as long as it's functional. They're not going
Oh,
to gatekeep taste. And frankly speaking,
okay.
that's the only way that is fair for people, because frankly speaking, I don't want like a guy who bought 200 lands yesterday to have a monopoly of what's beautiful and what's not going forward, because honestly, no, we will need like 100 players with all of their voting power if they own land
Hmm.
just to compete with one whale. I mean, this wouldn't be fair, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm not sure how the licensing. I gotta say that I've been a bit off hook of what's going on with the wearables. But the way I see the licensing is the same way we are whitelisting people in crypto avatars. We test you technically, and if you are able to do it technically correct, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge what's your taste or what do you like or whether I like or not, right? I like cartoon, but I know a lot of people that doesn't like it, so I don't really care what they do, but I do really care that they're doing it correctly, technically speaking. So not sure what is going to happen with the license then. I thought they were going still to be, testing people to see if they have the skills, and if they have the skills, maybe they just whitelist you somewhere, and you can do whatever you want with it. That will be ideal. That will be great because I could create, a lot of variables that I have in mind that I'm not doing because all the process that you have to do.
So let's summarize this. I would like to just summarize this once for the people listening to this, because there is so many different opinions on how this is supposed to work, and I don't think it has been clearly communicated from one person somewhere. And today, I think what's going to happen, and from the information that I've received from various sources, the builder is going to work with boundaries the same way that we have for regular asset packs for buildings. So as long as you stay within the limits, as long as the mesh works, and you will be able to mint anything you like, and the DAO will only check if there is any kind of infringement, copyright infringement, direct copies of, let's say, existing Bitcoin glasses, this kind of stuff we have to check for. But everything else is going to be free market. Like,
Okay,
if this is
that's
true,
that's awesome. That will be perfect. That will be the best thing that could ever happen, right? I'm not sure about. I will be using the DAO to hunt people to use Coca-Cola logos or stuff that can really be harmful for the community. But I'm not sure about doppelgangers. I think we spoke about this. I don't really mind if anybody creates a second pair of Bitcoin glasses because that will make mine more valuable, most probably. So we will see how that goes, right? Because that also has to go through the DAO, and it's not up to me; it's up to the community. So we will see how that rolls.
I mean, there is so much interesting conversation material whenever you reply to something, and I'm kind of trying to hold myself back. Um, so, I mean, I would definitely like to speak about the DAO and about the economics of wearables. I think these are two interesting topics, but I also know that a lot of people in Decentraland don't necessarily care about these things that much. They want to have a light, more entertaining experience. They want to buy, sell, have fun. They don't necessarily care if a third edition of the Bitcoin glasses is going to have an impact on the original one. I would care. I think you would, but a lot of people don't. So it's kind of tough to satisfy everyone's desire for information. But I just wanted to make sure we talk about this process, that we will have still this process of putting things on the forum, proposing it, submitting your designs. We check if there is any kind of infringement, and then you can put it up inside your builder tool for wearables, and you can mint it for free on the L2 network, and you can sell, you can do whatever you want. And then the question is, what happens to the prices of the original wearables? Because this was the big fear about a year ago when this when this question first came up, right? And I think there's two ways that it can go. As you said, maybe the original stuff, the old stuff, is going to explode in value because it suddenly this is the scarcity that is still there, and now you have this flood of new stuff coming in that you cannot value. So maybe there is going to be an increase in value, or maybe it's just going to, maybe people won't, will stop caring of having a Razer jacket or something like that because they could just create one that looks kind of the same, and it doesn't matter. So I guess, as you said, the market will have to decide there, and I'm really, really looking forward to this now because I think, yeah, I don't know what to think about this, man. This is all speculation, really.
Yeah, we don't really know what's going to happen. If you ask me, I think they will increase in value. Probably not in day one, but maybe in the next hype cycle, 3 years from now, they will definitely increase. If we follow the pattern of, let's say, CryptoPunks or all these vintage projects. So if 3 years from now we manage to place Decentraland as the place to be, definitely the first NFTs, and especially if they are on Ethereum and not in layer 2, they will definitely increase in value. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion. This is not financial advice by any chance. So that's what I think. I think they will increase in value because they are vintage. They represent the history, the early history in Decentraland, like the testing, what's been going good, the bads, and there are just a few of them, and they are definitely value because they represent the early community. I think almost everybody who has been doing stuff in the Decentraland will agree that all the teams that have been building in the Decentraland, they have their own wearables so far, right? Even smaller teams, almost all developers have. I'm trying to think somebody who doesn't have wearables by themselves, but I'm not sure if I'm missing anybody. But that's my point of view. Maybe I'm romanticizing because I'm part of the community, right? And I've been here for a long time, and I want them to be increasing in value. But who knows? Maybe in the future nobody give a shit about them. But I doubt it.
Man, one thing I know, whenever I put up some kind of strategy, some kind of framework to think about things, it just takes a little bit of time to completely turn it upside down, and it's not that the opposite becomes true, but in a completely unexpected outcome becomes true. So I'm not even going to speculate, but thank you very much for your perspective on this. Let's switch gears a little bit from here because I know we can get stuck on this topic, and I already feel that I want to ask follow-up questions here, but I won't. Let's leave this at that. So we are going to create wearables and see what's going to happen. I'm probably the most excited person about this because I think I'm the only guy who didn't create anything. At least this is how it feels to me. The N building, man. What's going on with the N building?
With the buildings in the Decentraland?
No, with the building with the number with the letter N. I believe you guys published a blog post that you are putting together a very cool project for someone in the crypto blogging sphere, right? And
yeah,
some people posted some pictures.
It's already deployed, so anybody can just go there and check it.
So what happened there? I thought was there some kind of official launch, or you just deployed it, or what happened?
That project has been on the hold for a long time because we cannot find a date to release the villain. So to be honest, we are stacking up with projects. Right now we have 15 projects going on building stuff in the Decentraland. It's just crazy. So we just wanted to not store this one into the fridge and just test it out in the Decentraland now that we have time, just in case in the later on we don't have that time available. So we decided to deploy it, test it, see if it works, if it doesn't work, and just leave it there until the release. So there will be a launch. There will be an official launch, an official release. We will probably add a couple of more things there, and it will happen. But we are still finding out what kind of date can we do, because since this person lives in Australia, it's very difficult to kind of have a date that work for us, because when it works for us, it doesn't work for him. When it works for him, it doesn't work for us. So it's been a going on and on process proper problem. But probably in 2 weeks, that's the date that we've been scoping for. So probably in 2 weeks we will be releasing that project finally. I just want to release it already, because it's something that we really care about. It's a really cool building that we made, and I want to see people enjoy it and present it to the world.
Why do I ask this question? Why do I care? Let me explain. I think this building is kind of cutting edge in the sense that it's not static, it's somewhat dynamic. So it is kind of a milestone for those guys who are trying to, develop and grow inside Decentraland as quote unquote builders, or whatever you want to call that. It's a nice thing to see. It pushes the boundaries of what's possible and what's likely to become standard going forward. So I really like this idea that it's not static. And here my follow-up question. It looks like everyone who is building today, they create these structures that you can walk into, you can walk up the stairs. Maybe you have an elevator that moves. How far away are we from like dynamic experiences inside the building where all of the doors are opening and closing, you can where you can kind of, I don't know, having trap doors, closing and opening stores in front of the windows, um, some kind of more real life like interactions with the build. Is this what is the what is the complexity there to get more of that going forward?
Um, that is possible. I can tell you that we are already working on something even more spectacular that this project we're talking about. We have uh, the issue is the time. Setting those things right now gets a lot of time, because there is nobody doing it actually. So and the Decentraland team that hasn't done it. Yeah, everything that they do, they release it open source, and not everybody does that, right? So I think it's about timing, because we are trying to build as fast as possible. But if we go into those details, like making a door opening when you walk by, that for that you need a trigger that triggers every time you walk there. But it's not about the trigger, it's that you have to set up that trigger. And how many doors do we have? 5 doors, and then you have to set it 5 times. And and it adds and adds and adds, and every single detail that you want to add is more time that you have to invest into development, which is fine. But right now we are in a rush of building as much as possible to have as much community possible. And I think that's why there's not many people experimenting. That's one of the main reasons why we launched the Wonder Tech Pledge, for allow ourselves to kind of explore and create more detailed experiences, because we are taking a whole month to build 1 billion with a specific team for that. That is very creative. So that will happen. It's just that people doesn't have enough time to kind of build that. It's not that it's not possible. It's definitely possible, and but it's just about timing.
I mean, there are certain complexities. Let's not also say there are no obstacles. Like having 10 players on a parcel that has dynamic elevators and doors, it's not that easy to manage, because you need to synchronize everyone's experience, and this is not there per default. Like, are you aware of those issues? And is there anything that you can kind of point out for people just starting out? Because I know in that building that we are in, if there is more than 2 people opening the automatic doors at the bottom, they close differently for the third person coming onto the scene. They don't go back to where they started. Is, do you know anything about any kind of problems that we might face?
Yeah, that thing happens because Decentraland works in the peer-to-peer connection. So if you do an action, it's not persistent. To be and having a persistent action or movements into your land, you need a server to host that. That's how we did it in Megacube. Even if everybody playing in Megacube will log out of Decentraland, the game Megacube will still have um, the same automation, right? The same mining and persistent changing. So if you want to do that kind of experience where there is an elevator and we can all go up into that elevator, and for the next one to use the elevator they have to wait, right? That's something that is not happening right now in the central. And if you want that, for that you need a server to run it and to make it persistent.
But for people using the builder, the regular Joe like me who is wanting to create an experience with existing asset packs,
Yeah,
you're not going to have a separate
that
server.
I'm afraid that is yeah, I'm afraid that probably for people who are using the builder is not they won't be able to take advantage of that yet. Probably in the future, I can imagine that maybe somebody becomes a server provider, like in Minecraft servers. There was companies that were providing servers, Minecraft servers, to make the game persistent between players. So I can see maybe there is a company that provides servers for Decentraland players, and they can just plug in, pay a small fee and use it even on the builder. That's something that could happen, and not it's not very weird. But until that's something that like that happens, I'm afraid that builders will have to use the peer-to-peer transaction and peer-to-peer connection.
That's terrible. I hope someone listening will actually provide a service like this. I mean, we need to resolve this whole streaming situation, where to host that stuff. I mean, just hosting videos on IPFS is also problematic. We need to resolve, this multiplayer experiences, because it's ridiculous, man. Honestly, like, you cannot use anything dynamic, and then you invite people, and then you cannot play a game. And then the other question is, we have this Wonder Zone mining game. Is this something you guys that are you going to build some kind of game experience for people in world? Because we need to have like a second for people to do.
The first Wonder Tech pledge that we made will have a daily thing to do in the Decentraland. I cannot say that much. It's not going to be a game-ish thing, but there will be some things that you will be able to do every day. And if you don't go every day, you will miss the chance to do it. So we are working on something similar. We are also already thinking how to create the Mega Cube 2 in a bigger and better and more functional way. And the thing about games is that they take way longer than anything else. Like creating a building can take up us between 3 or 5 weeks to do it properly. We can rush things, right? But making a game takes a lot of time. A game like Tom Chaser is about a month and a half of work of probably 3 people in the team, right? So that's a lot of time. And if you cannot monetize it right away, it's an investment that you have to do, and it's a very wasteful for resources. We are short of people right now. We are hiring like crazy, and we cannot take the demand right now, the overwhelming demand that we have.
Mhm.
But it's probably also because of timing that we don't have enough time to develop stuff. But I agree with you that there's need to be something to get you going into the central every day. We are working with a client for something like that with the first Wonder Tech pledge. Let's see how it rolls. It's going to be very interesting because it will involve some minting NFTs in Matic directly in the central and all that. So
Okay.
let's see.
All right. We have another 15 minutes to go, Toxsam. I see you're already kind of on your way out, jumping out of the screen all the time. I think you need to relax a little bit. I have another. I mean, once I have you here for a conversation, I'm not going to stop asking interesting questions. There's another question which I'm curious about. We have seen people having pets in Decentraland. We have heard people about portable things that we can deploy maybe on the 0 Plaza. what do you know about this? What's going to be possible, and what is Polygonal Mind kind of planning in that space? Like, someone texted me the other day asking me if it's possible to create a book, a book that you can carry with you, and and then I was
Mhm.
wondering, like, what's the future of that? When we'll be able to carry items?
Uh, I'm not sure. That's been on development for longer than you will expect. Probably I started speaking about this with the Decentraland team around 6 months ago, maybe even more. And the development has been really slow. So I'm not sure when it's going to happen. I know that it's going to happen. That you will be able to have portable experiences. You will be able to, you know, transfer or take a book or take an avatar or take a pet or even a car and use it everywhere, regardless if it's your land or not. But I'm not sure when it's going to happen. Again, I know about this for a long time, but I'm not sure how it's when it's going to happen. There's actually there's a lot of stuff happening, being developed inside the central team that they have been also kind of integrating new people into the team just to develop the stuff that we did. But it's taking way longer than we expect because various reasons that I don't understand. I guess it's a lack of time also because this kind of experiences, there's not many people in the world who can actually create it, and most of them are working in the game industry, and they just don't want to leave that. So it's I'm not sure when it's going to happen. Maybe you even have more information about that than me.
I do not, but people ask a lot of questions, man, and I'm getting in a situation where I'm getting a lot of DMs all the time, and I'm not necessarily like in the position to answer a lot of that stuff. So I'm asking people who might have information, and I think the whole communication strategy is kind of built up with these bits and pieces from different places, and you do have to kind of, in a decentralized fashion, collect those and then create your own version of what's the truth really is, right? I mean, um, that's the fun of the game right now. Okay, what else do I have? I wanted to ask you one thing. Like, a lot of people right now are trying to become entrepreneurs in Decentraland. They're looking for opportunities. Some people, they assemble little crews. They kind of gang up with other members, and you start to feel that people are smelling an opportunity here. And even if we are only like 500 active people on a day-to-day basis maximum, I would say, at this point in time, with each surge in price of mana, it feels like another 100 kind of start to come in and become at least active on Twitter and stuff like that. So I think people are coming in for entrepreneurial opportunity, and you are one of the few people who has been around here for long enough to speak to that topic. What do you say to people, for people who are organizing events, for people who are worried about competition, for people who are hoarding information and not sharing, for people who are trying to build a competitive advantage, for people who are trying to monetize a very small audience way too early, in the pursuit of building up kind of a second life here that they can potentially switch over? um, I'm just throwing a couple of ideas at you, but I think you're kind of almost on the verge of stepping into the metaverse and become 100% citizen of it and almost live there if you could. Um, can you speak to people coming in with the same dream?
um, yeah, probably we're one of the few teams in the world that can say that they are building uh, the metaverse and getting paid for it, and we're making a business out of it, and we've been growing. But I think you don't have to check us as we are now, but as we were 3 years ago or 2 years ago. We were just a small studio, and it took a lot of time for us. When I say a lot of time, I mean we already had a background creating stuff outside the center. We are just trying to apply our skills inside this world into a different place. So you have to see what kind of skill sets do you have, and how can you apply them into Decentraland. And that's not something that is going to happen in just in a few days. Of course, if you're a 3D modeler and if you know how to do billions of stuff, that's easy because you kind of have that advantage that there's already something going on there. And all right, but even if you have the skills, you have to prove the community that you are not here just for the quick buck, or you are not here just to be another thing that you do,
How do you
right?
do that?
I think
How do you do that effectively?
you have to enter the central and Discord and speak with people and ask questions and ask uncomfortable questions, ask good questions, go to the events, try to be involved as much as possible in the community, and take time. It's going to take a lot of time for you. If you want to build in the Decentraland right now, if I wanted to build in the Decentraland now, joining, what I will do is the same thing I did. Go to the Decentraland, check out what's going on, see the conversation. Just don't add up. I'm not a person that no, most of the time when I want to do business or when I'm not the person who jumps in and starts speaking. And usually the person who stays there and see what people are speaking about, and then I adapt to the conversation. So I will say that do that. Go there, see what people is talking about, see if you are interested into this community or not, and start to be very active into it. Not like sending us DMs all the times and be annoying, but being persistent and being there a lot of time, a lot of time. It took us around 3 months between we joined the Decentraland until we had our first client, right? And the community was super, super, super small. So it will take a lot of time. And you have to prove your skills. Now you have the builder. Now you have things that we didn't have when we started, which is kind of seeing the place. We were just making the stuff and making people believe that it was going to work in the center, and we didn't even knew about it.
But
But
what's
we were
what?
sure that we will fix the issues that will happen, right? So you can create something on local, right, on your own computer and show off, and it's about patience and being involved in the community rather than just go there and try to monetize as soon as possible, because you are going to be spotted as someone who wants to monetize, and probably not they are not going to pay you the same attention as you in a friendly manner.
And I don't want to just leave it at that, because I look at your meta trips, for example. This has been quite a success. I think there is a demand for certain things and there is a little bit less demand for other things. I think not everyone is going to become a game studio or is not going to build sophisticated, advanced builds. But there is other opportunities. There must be, I mean, if you look at people like Kevin on Earth, he came in, bam, he started an event, he got a community, he keeps on, he rolls the ball forward on a weekly basis consistently. You are doing this with the meta trip. There is these opportunities of gathering people around you and entertain them, help them to learn, take them around, create opportunities to do something inside Decentraland. Like, this is, for this you don't need time, for this you don't need expertise or skills. So, but not everyone
Yeah,
is doing
definitely.
it,
But
right?
you need time. You need time, right? What Kevin O'Reilly is doing is the same thing we're doing with the meta trip. You have to schedule a time every week. You have to kind of entertain people that time, and believe it or not, that takes a lot of time. I mean, that's something that I could be watching TV instead
Yeah.
of doing that, right? So you have to be aware that you will going to be what he is doing is being active in the community in a friendly manner and not trying to monetize as soon as possible, which I think is kind of the issue for some people, that they just see the mana going up, and if you go to the central Discord, you will also see somebody like, how do I make money in this game? And it's like, it's not about the game, it's about the people who use the platform,
I
that
agree.
they have money, right? Those are the ones that have money, and they're going to give it to you if you're a person who spends time in the community building up and making something that have some kind of value. It doesn't have to be a building, it doesn't have to be avatars, it could be just entertaining people or making a concert, or whatever. But be active and give give something away for free. Don't expect anything in return, and then magically, eventually, something will come along that will help you out. I'm completely sure about it.
I agree with you, man. And this was like one of my first issues when I started in Decentraland, that I've noticed some people, even the language they use when they communicate is all around about the bag, about making the cash, about cashing out. It's like, dude, there's like 30 people in this world. What are you talking about? Like, I was like, it was really strange. But I still feel this connection between crypto and Decentraland, and it's probably not going to go away in the short term. But I think
I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think that's kind of the beauty of things, right? We can actually make profit out of working on something digital in the metaverse. But it's the same thing as if someone knocks in your door on your house and asks you for to buy them a Bible or to buy them whatever, right? 100%, not everybody is going to do that, right? And not everybody is going to buy the thing because I don't really need that. You need to add value to it, right? You don't just, I mean, it's just forget about the money and try to enjoy the ride. And if you cannot make profit out of this insurance, that's fine. Don't be so obsessed about it. That's kind of the point, right? I also get those DMs. I also get these people, and specifically, I have a lot of friends that are asking, how do I make money out in the central? I'm like, yo, I'm doing the same thing that I was doing before the central, but in a new audience. That's why I'm making money, because I'm not selling them. I'm not trying to sell them out anything that I cannot do, or I'm not selling them promises. I'm just changing my audience from regular clients to clients in the central. It's not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's not about the money. It's about the skills you have and how do you provide value in the central, rather than just, yeah. I mean, I can pump and dump mana, right? I can buy mana and then wait it to pump and then sell it, and that's great if you do it. And if you make money out of it, that's great. But not everybody is up to that stuff, right? And definitely not everybody in the central is going to be there for that stuff. And crypto in general is great for the decentralization, and because it gives you financial freedom. But like anything that has to do with money, there is always going to be people that is just about the number. But how many digits do I have in my wallet? So uh, that's going to happen. That already happens in real life with regular money. So this is something that we are seeing here, because one of the first things that the central had was the currency. So probably that's why there's still so many people thinking about Decentraland just as the mana thing.
I mean, the mindset there, I think it has to evolve for people to come to this place, to meet friends, to do stuff, to waste time, to look for opportunities, to communicate, to work for someone, to trade things. I think it needs to evolve in that direction before we can start talking about monetization and these kind of things. And yeah, man, I think let's see. I'm really excited about the new people who are now creating YouTube channels, Twitch channels, who create events. And I just wanted to ask you about one more thing there. Sometimes it feels like, oh no, there is 2 3 more people who are doing the same thing as I do, or that maybe doing an idea earlier than I did. Did you ever encounter this, that you were thinking of something and someone else was suddenly doing it? And do you feel like it's a zero sum game, and if someone is doing something, he's taking out of your pocket? Or do you feel there's space for everyone to kind of benefit from the system and create something, even if it's the same? Like, can you speak about this idea of competition, of fear, of um of the negative
Yeah,
emotions sometimes, like, that can arise in between humans, and
yeah,
how you
yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah.
about it?
That that happens to me. I mean, we joined so early that, and we do a very basic work that is really needed in the central, right? So Back in the day, I used to be when I saw somebody making billions, I was like, "Oh man, another billionaire, motherfucker!" But then eventually, uh, just have to think this way. We are so early that your ideas are going to be so basic that a lot of people are going to be thinking about them also. And the only difference between your idea and my idea is that I execute faster. So if you really want to be up to the game, and if you are a really competitive person as I am, you will be crunching hours and working and executing ideas as soon as possible, because there is a high chance that somebody else around the world is making the same idea happening, whether you are aware of it or whether you are not aware of it. And this happened to me many times, even outside the center. And in the center, definitely it has happened to me. Um, I remember clearly, for example, the guys of the MetaZone. What they did with the MetaZone, that's an idea I had a year before they joined the Decentraland, right? But they produced it faster. They made it happen faster, right? So it's about what can you do and where you're comfortable with, right? This 100% sure that in the next few years we will be seeing more studios like me joining and creating cool stuff. But I'm here before then, and that's the market, man. You have to step up and just do it better and faster and produce ideas faster than anybody else. For example, the Wonder Tech Pledge idea we had, right, is a package of services that we provide as an NFT. I had that idea, and around 1 week later on, we did it. Right, so I managed the team, and we kind of um, placed it, created website, created everything, and scrambled everything together to make it happen, because we were sure that somebody was going to do it faster than us. And guess what? A couple of weeks after we released and after we were sold the NFT, we found out that there was another studio in Spain actually that was going to do it also NFTs as package, not for building in the Decentraland, but for branding and stuff in. But it was the same idea. It was a package of services in NFT, right? Who was the first one? Probably we thought the same thing at the same time, but execution, the speed of the execution, was what make us try it first, and that's going to happen every time. And we are so early that any idea that we produce is going to be a base idea that in 2 years from now everybody is going to be doing that, because if the idea is good enough, everybody is going to integrate it to themselves. So you have to be aware that being a pioneer is an easy way to be copied and be ripped out. So you have to be thinking 2 ways ahead, so you are not caught up with the staff. So, for example, now I can tell you what we are working on, right? But to be able to catch up my speed, you need to be on my level, right? But uh, my level now, in 6 months from now, is going to be the base layer. It's going to be the base level. So it's about not confrontation another. I stopped watching what other builders are doing. I actually enjoy the meta tree because I have the chance to actually check it in a non competitive way, because I'm a very competitive person. And it's just about focusing on your stuff. And if you have an idea, be sure that somebody else in around the world is having that. Maybe it's not thinking in your language. Maybe that person doesn't have the same color of skin, or doesn't, it doesn't really matter. They will have execution, and they will do it. And if the idea doesn't realize, it's because one, you are too early, or two, the idea was bullshit. So there's no other way to try it. You have to try it as fast as possible. So I will say, just don't concentrate on others. Try to create your ideas reality, and if they are good, be prepared that other people is going to copy paste that. 100% sure. So but you also have the first move advantage, and try to get to use that into your advantage per se.
Toxsam, thank you for sharing this personal detail. I appreciate that. And I would like to add something to it. And I don't know if you agree, but I would say so. Like, yes, definitely, if you stop watching what other people you're doing, you're just going to be so much happier, and you actually are going to create something. And sometimes creating something is so much better than not creating anything. And there is a space for number two, and there is a space for number three, and you can, shift away into a slightly different niche where it's a little bit less competitive, and you will find the market for those things as well. It doesn't mean that if there is one guy already in a space that there is no space for anyone else. And more importantly, I think, and tell me if you disagree with that, I think sometimes having more people doing the same thing creates more benefits for everyone in the ecosystem, because we are so early on. If you would have, let's say, another 100 builders, the fact that 100 builders are building the world faster, we might have a second land sale down in 2 years where the whole DAO is voting to get more land, to get more people into the game, to just grow the system, because everyone benefits from the system growing as well. And if this price is having a couple of more competitors, everybody might be willing to pay that price. Like, I think when you're that early on, it's good to have other people copying you. You want to give away ideas for free, because if you want to stay for the long game, you want that ecosystem to grow, and you need other people to be part of that. You cannot do it all by yourself.
If there is more, I like to think it this way. So if there is more people copying you, it's because you are doing something really interesting. So you just have to press on that. And the more people copying you, the more interested you are. So you have to just press on that. I mean, if there was 100 companies building in the Decentraland, it means that I can potentially be 100 times bigger, right? So it's it's a mind game about how much do you want to grow, and also if there is a market for that. Because if there is more competitors like us, it means that there is more demand, there is more people, and that we can also grow and get benefits from that, because there is competition. There's not just a random idea that luckily work it out and that's it. No, it's because there is an actual demand for it, and there is an actual market looking for that. So uh, definitely having more people involved, having more competition is great. I wouldn't say that don't pay attention what other people is doing. You kind of have to have some time to check out what others are doing, because uh, maybe you think you're doing something spectacular and original, but somebody else have done it before you, right? So you have to pay attention, but don't get obsessed about it. That's what I would say. Not don't get obsessed about competition. Competition is great, and
Yeah.
also if you are a competitive person like I do, you will gonna you will want to do it faster, better, and having someone who is in your back, or having the feeling that you have someone in your back and can't take something away from you makes you hungry to be push you through the limits and create things better than the next person next to you. So for me, I see competition as a great way. It's a market validator, and really opens the gate for your business to grow.
I had no idea that you had so much to say on this topic. I mean, you've put some thought into this.
I put thought on everything, man.
All right, Toxsam, I know we're running out of time here, although I'm not even half through my notes here. But one thing, I think this is a great place to kind of wrap up our official conversation, but I wanted to just throw in a bit of knowledge here. During these events, those 5 days events, there was this gentleman who is the creator of the POAP project. And I don't know
Mhm.
if you've heard his speech, but he said that POAPs are going to have a purpose, and
Yeah.
they're right. And I think a lot of people are hunting these POAPs. Sometimes, I mean, I think all of the events really flourish on that concept, and I think people kind of smell that there might be some kind of benefit of having all of these tokens. And do you remember what he said and what?
Uh, Actually, today there was an event from the Pope. They created a new Discord called Pope.art, and they made all the people who got the Pope had the chance to create art collaboratively in the same spreadsheet, right? And they use the Pope as a key to be able to enter somewhere. But for me, Popes already have a purpose, and it's a really, really good purpose, which is saying that you've been here doing this and that. And believe it or not, that's for me, that's a great purpose enough, because you can already filter people. You can you can show off. Achievements in video games are huge. And I used to collect mounts and random stuff in World of Warcraft just to have the achievement, so I can tell my friends that, hey, I have the achievement and you don't, right? So having Popes is already a great purpose enough for it, and being able to use them for something else is great. But we will see. As I mentioned, today was already the first day that they kind of allow people to use Popes for more utility things, not just the batch thing, but we will see how that goes. I'm really optimistic about the project. Patricio is very, very, very involved into his own project, which is great, and he definitely loves what he's doing. And I can see that being a great motivator to improve the Pope system. But for me, it already has a really good purpose. And if you're a talented or you're a developer, you can already use that into your advantage if you want to.
Right, Toxsam. Next time we have to bring on Kunai and Alex Archer to join us.
If you make Victor speak in English, that would be great.
Well, maybe I'll learn a couple of sentences in Spanish just to get him involved. All right. Toxsam, man, I know you're super busy, and it's really tough for you to take out time to do something like this, especially it's already evening time. I really, really appreciate that you support my efforts to spread a little bit the message about what's going on in Decentraland beyond the Tuesdays. And maybe from time to time I could still give you a shout out, maybe to discuss additional current events once things start to accumulate again.
Sure, whenever, man.
Really appreciate it, man. Greetings to the team, and thank you. And we speak next time.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here. See you next time.
Bye.